Today I've come out to a location I haven't been to for about 2 years. Well, actually it's kind of two locations. Way over the back there is Elche Dam, and I'm going to go there in a little while. But first I'm going over this way, over there. Down a hill, there's a rocky area where the downstream part of the Vinalopo river runs through, and there's some nice cascades and sort of little waterfalls and things. And as I said, I haven't been here for about 2 years, so it'd be interesting to see if anything's changed and if I can do anything different with it. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do, and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. Okay, so I've come down now to the area where the cascades are. It's just a bit of a clamber down. Wonderful sort of strange rocky area here, because this used to be the riverbed. So it's all these weird kind of sculpted shapes and things. And do you know what? I think I might even see if I can do some photography using those in a little while. But first I've come to photograph one of the small cascades over here. It's not very big, but there's quite a force of water going through it, and it's always provided some kind of interest in the past. Now, whenever I've photographed here before, I've always used ND filters and a tripod. And the reason for that is that for flowing water, for cascades, that kind of thing, I like an exposure time a little bit longer, maybe a quarter of a second, half a second, maybe a second. And in the past, that's always meant ND filters and a tripod to maintain sharpness in the bits of the scene that are supposed to be sharp. However, what I'm going to be doing today is shooting handheld and relying on the live ND function in the OM Systems OM1 to take the place of the ND filters, and relying on the image stabilisation, which is excellent, although I haven't really put it to that much of a test yet, but relying on that to get the stability that I want. Now, you may be wondering, what's the advantage of that? And aside from not having to carry the tripod around and mess around setting it up, there may not be one, but it may allow me to get angles or compositions that would be difficult, if not impossible, to do with a tripod. So I guess we'll have to see. So over here is the little cascade. The water comes down and bounces off some rocks, creating all sorts of interesting patterns and shapes. There's some plant life and some algae growing around there. And as I said, I've always felt that this creates some interesting possibilities for moving water images. So I am going to do something with this. Now, it is quite sunny today, and that means we might be struggling a little bit with glare off the water. I haven't yet bought a new filter setup for this camera system, but fortunately I have got a 77mm circular polarizer, and I have got an adapter ring, so I should be able to fit the polarizer on, which will help to take glare out if necessary. Got my circular polarizer on, so I'm going to do one shot, kind of like a normal sort of fairly high view, probably about 60-65 mil. Quarter of a second, f8. And then I think I'm going to try and get a little bit lower down, get a different perspective on it. That may be better. said I was going to have a look at photographing some of these amazing kind of rocky structures here, and I think I'm going to try this one because the backdrop is also quite interesting with the hills in the background. So before we do any more water, let's see what we can do with this. Got to keep my own shadow out of it. I don't want to get too low down, otherwise the foreground blends with the background. But I don't want to get too high up because I want to keep a lot of detail in the foreground. I think I'm going to quickly swap over to the wide angle for this scene because I think that will work better. Really make a feature of the rocky patterns in the foreground. No food, it's a camera, it's not food. I've come round to a larger cascade. I seem to have been joined by somebody's dog. I'm not sure where the owner is. I'm hoping they're not too far away for the dog's sake. This is the larger cascade, so I thought I'd do some images here before I then go back to the car, go round to the other side of the river and walk up to the dam. This one is much more obviously man-made. The previous one is a channel in the rocks. This one is a wall that's been constructed, but it's got all rocks growing up it, surrounded by foliage, lots of green algae growing on it. So again, I'm thinking probably quarter of a second, half a second exposures. Again, quite a lot of bright light on there, so some polarization to take any glare out. So I'm going to do two shots here. I'm going to do a horizontal one, bringing the water flow in the bottom in from the right hand side, a minimal amount of the foliage in, and the water cascades over on the right hand side. And then I'm also going to do one with a vertical orientation, which will bring in a bit more of the water and a bit more of the foliage, and we'll see which one looks the best. Obviously with a slightly longer exposure, blurring in the foliage is a concern, but it's not moving that much and it's only a quarter of a second, so hopefully it'll be okay. This is about sort of 25mm circular polarizer, taking glare out but not too much. Quarter of a second looks about right. And now I'll do a vertical one. There's a bit of blue sky at the top of the scene that I'm trying to make sure isn't included. Don't want it in there. Draws the eye too much. Okay, so I've come around from the other side of the river, driven around, and I'm now doing the walk, which I think is about 1 kilometre, just along the path here, which will take me to Elche Dam and the big cascade. Although how much water's coming across it at the moment, I have no idea. Just caught a glimpse of the top of the dam over there. So not too far to go. By the way, if anybody's worried about the dog I mentioned earlier, the owner was by the river having a little picnic or siesta, and dog and owner were reunited. There's an egret down there on the rocks. Let's see if we can get it. Flown across the other side. Oh, there's another one. Oh no. Some kind of fight, and they've disappeared. Okay, wasn't what I was expecting to do. Egrets back. Okay, I couldn't resist taking photos of the egret. Hopefully I've got one or two that are quite nice, so I'll show you that. And now it's time to get back to the dam with all this water coming down. So time for a lens change. Okay, 12 to 100. I'm debating the polarizer just for the top there, so maybe we'll put that on. Live MD again for the long exposure. Half a second at f5. These plants blowing around here are causing a problem, so I might have to zoom in a little bit. Then I think I'm going to take a little walk around here. Okay, the place I used to go through there is now all roped off. It's obviously become dangerous, so I'm going to do a shot from here. I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to go for something a little bit silly. I'm going to go and see just how long an exposure I can do handheld on this. I'm shooting at about 26, 27 mil, which is 4 seconds, and I think that looks sharp. So let's see if I can do 8. That looks sharp to me. 8 seconds handheld. That looks pretty good. You know what, I think that's me done for today. Hopefully some fun shots, testing out the live ND and testing out the image stabilisation on the OM1 Mark II. And from what I can see, looks pretty good. And hopefully some egrets as well. If you watched my first video of the year, you know, one of the things that I said I was going to do was revisit old locations, and this is one I haven't visited for 2 years, so I think that qualifies. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, likes, shares and comments always really appreciated. If you've enjoyed this video and you're new here and you want to see more of my stuff, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. And as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until next week, bye.